Hey, everybody, welcome to another episode of the Car Dealership Guy Industry Spotlight. Coming up this episode, we turn to the largest Toyota dealership in the world, Longo Toyota in El Monte, California. How does a dealership turning over 9,000 monthly service ROs and over 1,000 new vehicles sold a month level up their customer communication game? Well, also find out how Longo uncovers a dissatisfied customer before they ever walk in or out of that front door. Plus, the philosophy behind, quote, if a service customer has to call you, you've already failed. Well, for those answers and more, we turn to Paul LeBlanc, Service Director at Longo Toyota, and Derek Simonds, Executive VP Automotive at Numa. Props to Numa for supporting today's show, and let's get into it. So, Paul, I can't tell you how exciting it is to have you on the show. You are the Fixed Ops Director for Longo Toyota, the largest Toyota dealer group in the entire country. And not just recently, not 1 year, 2 year, 3 years, but for the past 58 years. Tell us a little bit about yourself and little bit about Longo.
Yeah, it's great to be here. I'm honored to be on the podcast. So, thanks so much for the invite. Myself, I've been here with Longo 21 years now, which is
Wow.
crazy to me. I kind of grew up in the car dealership world, held a few various positions, over the years, and I've been in my current role for the last 6 years now. So I couldn't be more proud of what we do each and every day to, lead the industry.
So, who owns Longo? Who is Longo?
So Longo Toyota is owned by Greg Penske, which is Penske Motor Group.
Okay.
We're blessed with two regards. Great, manufacturer being Toyota, of course, and then, Penske Motor Group is, the really leader in the car industry. So couldn't be more honored to be here.
So here at the Ziegler Auto Group, we love racing too. We have some NASCAR affiliations. Penske obviously has a racing in its blood as well. And it's cool to see somebody that excels like you have. So being the biggest, the best for as long as you have, you've created that tradition and you've held it and you've been there a long time. Give us a sense for the scale of the operation. How many techs do you have there at Longo Toyota?
So in our service department alone, there's over 200 team members. In our customer-facing shop, we have 88, main shop technicians that we have. So huge scale. Daily average about 370 repair orders input per day at the moment. So we're generating 9,000 ROs a month here through our departments. So
9,000 ROs a month. And do you know how many cars they sell up front?
Yeah, we're averaging about 1,000, new vehicles per month, and pre-owned we're in the 400 range.
How did you was there a point where you said, hey, I want to become the fixed ops director, I want to become the service director at Longo Toyota? Or did you sort of was it like a path that you didn't necessarily chart? Like, it's such a large organization, how did you end up in that spot?
Yeah, years of hard work. I don't think I woke up one morning and said, hey, this is my exact path and that's what I'll do.
Right.
I just never say no to an opportunity, and I'm always up for a challenge, and that's kind of led me to my current roles.
Yeah. So it's interesting. Fixed ops is the focus of many organizations, ours included here at the Ziegler Auto Group right now. And it is because those vehicles are becoming older. Average age of a vehicle is higher than it's ever been before in the history. New vehicle inventory is tough to get, particularly in the Toyota world, right? And so focus on service is important like it is nowhere else. And I'm just curious, a few questions before we get into the main topic today. Hiring technicians has got to be a huge focus for you. What's your best source for hiring new technicians, Paul?
Well, my best source really is retention. I mean, I would say if you retain your current team, then it makes hiring pretty simple. You don't need to. When we do need to, it's really promoting from within. I mean, we love growing our entry level guys. We love promoting valets that want to be techs, and we just have a great system to elevate our team and help mentor them to become a master diagnostic tech.
So is there like a school, or is there like a training program that goes into that, or what does that look like?
Oh yeah, we do our own internal process. We have our how to promote and mentorship in different teams, and then of course we love to see that team members either just go to one of the local community colleges or one of the great trade schools out there. It helps. T10 program with Toyota is really good as well. So a couple avenues you can take to get there.
Okay. Turning that many ROs, 9,000 ROs is a mammoth effort. That creates a lot of work for your service writers, obviously the service technicians, and then just communicating back and forth with customers. Do you have a BDC? Like, how do you communicate? How do you keep that open line of communication with your customers?
Yeah, so we have high standards here. It really starts with the team. I mean, it starts from processes down, to how do we get consistent updates. We run a service BDC here, so we do have a business development center that helps, field our phone calls for our 4 stores and our immediate dealer group. But yeah, you got to have great processes in a team.
How large is the BDC?
So, service BDC, we have currently 23 team members total in our BDC.
Yeah. So it's interesting. One of the statistics we talk a lot about within the car dealership guy and our own auto group is it's a national stat. 1 out of every 4 calls into a dealership ends up getting completely mismanaged. And actually in service, the stat ends up being a lot higher. And then JD Powers and our guest today actually also shared a stat. 82% of customers have chosen to cut ties with the dealership on poor communication alone. Those stats are depressing as all get out when you think about automotive, right? We want to create a great experience. We don't want to piss people off. We don't want to have people frustrated. Have you run into this as a reality of trying to create that great customer experience for your customers there at Longo in service?
Oh, yeah, of course. And it drives me crazy. I mean, anytime that you have somebody that maybe spends a little bit too long here, or, they can't get through to a team member, the communication is poor, they just can't access the data that they want. I say you got to make it easy to do business. And if you can't do that, then, ultimately someone's not coming back.
So Longo Toyota, you personally are nationally recognized for doing a lot of things to try to find unique and interesting solutions to tough problems. So that problem of communication and answering calls and responding to every single customer is a real problem in the world. And I've seen in my world 2 paths, right? You can go out and hire a ton of more people, which puts a load on your team to train more, or you can turn to unique and creative ways. AI is one, technology is another. What have you tried to do in the world to solve that problem of communicating with customers and providing that elite customer experience?
So, I think you just touched on it. It's really technology and the utilization of that. And when I say that is I'm always looking ahead, because you could be complacent, you could try to do the same thing over, but if you want to push forward, you got to have better ways to do business. And that's where really Derek and Numa came in to kind of help us on how we could do some stuff smarter and better.
So it's interesting, and we'd like to welcome to our show Derek Simonds. He's Executive VP with Numa. Derek, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks, Sam.
Derek, you and I are no stranger to each other. Full disclosure, Before I came to Ziegler Auto Group, I worked for a Swiss-based insurance company. You and I worked together in that capacity. We worked for a time side by side, and you saw the opportunity that was Numa AI well before I think a lot of people actually saw it. And it's interesting, Paul, that you went to Numa as a solution to the problem. There are a ton of AI solutions out there in the world. And as we say on this show with CDG and in the Ziegler Auto Group, not all AI is created equal. So what stood out about Numa to you that led you to believe, hey, Numa can provide us a solution that, is real and tangible and can result in helping our customers in a world that is just littered with AI and tech problems? What stood out to you, Paul?
Yeah, I think they're really their partnership. So first of all, they were great people, right? They followed up. They had a really good platform. They were doing some innovative things. They too were never complacent, staying still. And probably one of my biggest factors for them is I refuse to sign contracts these days. And they really said, hey, we'll put our money where our mouth is, and no contract. If you're dissatisfied, we'll let you cancel.
Which, by the way, I believe in that as well. I think a vendor relationship is a 2-way agreement. And if you both are equally committed in delivering the best, you don't need a long contract. You just need to deliver, right? So, Derek, welcome to the show. What did you think when you got the call from Paul, service director, largest Toyota dealership on planet Earth, saying, hey, come help us communicate better with our customers?
Well, the first thing I thought was, don't screw this up.
Yeah.
That's literally the first thing I thought. But here, I love analogies. I love stories. And I love how both Ziegler and Penske are in the NASCAR business, right? And so I'm going to use a NASCAR analogy.
Yeah,
one of the things that is absolutely critical to me is that when I look at a team, right, the team at Longo is a high-performing NASCAR team. Like they had their processes in place. They know who does what at what time and who doesn't get in each other's way. And the best teams are doing what, Sam? They're always looking to improve. And that was the thing that impressed me the most about the initial communication with Longo, was that we realized this was a partner that was going to push us and that we could help them as well. And so, NASCAR, basically all the cars are the same, right? Same horsepower, same draft. I mean, there's tweaks and there's a little cheating. If you ain't rubbing, it ain't racing or whatever. But look, we know that the reality is they're all the same cars that are out there on the track, and it's about the team. It's about the driver, about the pilot. And Paul has done an amazing job driving that team and fixed operations for the last 6 years. And so it was great. That was the thing. Don't screw up. This is a big opportunity. Let's go. What's next?
All right.
And
so Paul calls you up and he's like, Derek,
yes,
we need to better communicate with our customers. We need some automated capabilities to be able to do that after hours, outside of hours, and maybe even take the overflow, right? So it takes some of that pressure off our team that are so heavily worked. Again, I can't even imagine turning the number of ROs that you guys have, 9,000 ROs a month. So what was going through your head, Derek? Don't F it up, right? That's one.
Yeah.
What else are you guys thinking?
Well, what I was really thinking was it was a match made in heaven, because what Paul was looking to do is what we believe AI needs to do, which is make the people more efficient. Paul wasn't looking to come in and wipe out people. Paul didn't call us up and say, hey, I want to get rid of 40% of my staff. Paul said, what is the next step to make my team more efficient and more profitable as we move forward? And look, I've been doing this for 4 years now with Numa. And the crazy thing is that AI computing power is doubling every 7 months. And so what we're able to bring as a product has basically doubled every 7 months. And Paul and I were talking yesterday about some cool things that we're bringing out specifically for our Techion dealers in 2 weeks. And so we're super excited about what the next level is. But the thing is, this is what drives it, is talking with dealers that say, hey, this is the opportunity. This is the area of improvement. And then we come in with artificial intelligence and we use that to maximize what their people are doing. I think this is a critical thing here. You know what I believe? I believe that the automobile business is a human to human business. So does Paul. So does the whole team at Longo.
By the way, so does Ziegler. We agree 100%.
Human to human. So what we want to do is be there when the people aren't. I think when Yossi and Tasso were talking late last year, early this year, we gave you guys some statistics. None of this is a surprise to anybody. Who would imagine that service advisors are the busiest from 7 a.m. to 11 a.m. in the morning, and specifically on Monday, and then 3 to 6 on a Friday, right? Who would have ever thunk that was even possible? But what we want to do is we want the advisors to answer the call. But if they can't, that's when our AI is going to engage with the customer. If a customer calls and wants to book an appointment at the BDC and a BDC agent's not available, that's when our AI is going to engage with the customer. So at Longo specifically, it is human first, but we're there to backstop them.
So they start the conversation with the human and then AI engages. Is it a voice? Is it a text?
Yeah.
Is it an email?
Yeah, it's both. Yes. Yeah. It's voice, it's text, it could be web chat, it could be your Facebook Messenger, right? So what we believe is that we want to meet the customer where they want to be met. And we got some crazy stats over the last 3 years that we've been working, 2.5 years, I guess, that we've been working with Longo. But one of the ones that blows me away is that when we first started with Longo in the first quarter, I think, Paul, it was around 7,000 text messages were sent from Numa to Longo customers. Last quarter, Sam, the last 90 days, not last physical quarter, but the last 90 days, they did 34,000 text messages. And so what's happened is we've made it easier for the BDC and the advisors to meet the customer where they want to communicate. And you've seen the studies. I don't care if it's Cox or CDK or anybody, but they all say the same thing. Over 90% of service customers would rather text with the service department than they would talk to them. And so what we're trying to do is try and make it easy for them.
And to your point, AI has developed so quickly. Like the iteration of the tool in the beginning is probably completely different than the iteration of the tool today.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So one of the things that I've seen in the AI world is the better the AI tool, there are some AI companies that have great field support. There are some AI companies that have terrible field support that don't understand automotive. They'll unleash an AI into a sphere that they just don't understand the consequences or the impact of it. It seems like you guys have that experience, right, Derek? And you and your team understanding automotive and some of the challenges. Like,
yeah.
Talk to us a little bit about that. And then maybe, Paul, what's an example of an area where we broke something at Longo and we had to go back and put it back together, if you will? I think a great company can adapt, right? Has Numa been able to adapt with
Let me answer that first question, and then we'll see what Paul's got. I think what is absolutely critical is that there is no AI company that has as much automotive specific data as we do. In the last 4 years, we've handled 35 million phone calls for dealerships and 133 million text messages. So when you look at that, those are all around the concept of an automotive conversation. And AI's learned from two things: massive sets of data and pattern recognition. And we are pumping automotive specific data into this thing on a daily, weekly basis to improve its understanding and its ability to communicate.
Look, I don't think there was a something that was broken or there's a systematic thing that just didn't work, but it was almost more of, hey, let's get some word tracks changed, maybe what the AI is saying, how can we get conversational AI? And then our team had this big shift. Instead of like our service BDC being, on the phone answering as many cars, maybe they were then responding to text messages through the Numa platform. So there was this shift of, hey, we need to use this platform, and really a little bit of learning and training. So that was, I think, our biggest obstacle here, is getting really comfortable and outside the box on what we were doing before to what we're doing now.
Was there anyone on your team that was like, hey, I see this AI technology as a threat to my job and I'm going to compete against it? I'm going to try to turn it off or go around it or compete with it. How did you handle that in a couple of years ago when you started implementing this?
Good point, right? Because you hear that today, is AI is going to take your job. It's not just here. That's the world that we live in. So I think we had to make it clear to our team members is, hey, look, we're not looking to reduce headcount in this. We're not going to be, terminating anybody. If anything, I wanted to repurpose people. I wanted to take them out of maybe being stuck behind a phone every day and get them in front of a guest and let them know that, hey, there's always going to be, a position for you here, and, we'll help adapt to it. So that was big, but really just transparency and communication always goes the furthest with team members.
I mean, in my own world, I've seen that as the biggest 180. It's like, as soon as team members see it's not a competition, it's a collaboration, it helps deliver the better customer experience. It changes the world, right? Instead of competing, it's a collaboration. You can do things that previously you weren't, you just flat out weren't able to do, right?
It helps elevate what you could do. It helps really increase your job performance, and it even gets you a little bit of your time back, your day back. So it's really good.
So how would you quantify, Paul, the financial impact of utilizing a tool like this on the business and service? Are you able to quantify that?
Yeah, I mean, look, I could quantify it now to an exact, of course not, because, there's what I know in my heart it does, but can I put that exactly on a piece of paper? Maybe not. What I do know is that we're booking more appointments online than we were previously. We continue to have an increase of appointments and car counts coming in through our service drive. And then our phone is actually ringing less in our BDC. So if I go back from, last year to this year, we're actually taking less phone call. We're doing way more text messages, and we've increased our business. And of course, there's the financial, our financial shows too, where we're having, really record months.
Derek, what would you say to somebody that says, hey, I want a clear-cut quantification? Because I actually have said that probably to your team and to other AI companies. I want to know exactly the impact. I was talking to the chief technology officer of a company called Fox Motor Company. You remember them, Grand Rapids?
Yeah, I know Yuri. Yeah.
Yuri is like, dude, you don't understand. There are dealer groups that are out of business today and they don't even realize it because they're being outmaneuvered by AI and tech, and they won't know it for years. And as I hear Paul talk, I kind of think about that, right? Like, his people are focused on doing things that are human, that they can be awesome at. And then there are things that are happening in the background that may be tough to quantify financially, but are increasing their business by leaps and bounds. And it's tough to articulate, Derek, sometimes.
Yeah. So I think there's two things here. And I think that unfortunately with AI products, us specifically, we get lumped into this idea that AI is just about setting appointments in the service drive. The 35 million phone calls that we've answered over the last 4 years, only 5 million of those, Sam, have been appointment calls. That means that 30 million calls rang through for a parts counter person or a service advisor or a BDC or a salesperson or whatever that our AI was able to answer and engage, right? So that's the first thing. So when we look at the quantification, you and I both know this. Like, what's the number one thing that we hated when a vendor came in and pitched us? Oh, look, you can set 4 appointments and then you're going to pay for our tool. I hated that. Like, literally, as soon as somebody said that to me, I shut down. There's one thing I know. Appointments are a commodity. The appointments that exist today are because you spent $35 million on that building. You spent $35 million to buy that franchise. You staffed it. You advertised. You sold those cars. Those people were calling you to schedule an appointment. I even in service marketing, it's still the same thing. Those are my customers. We are marketing to them. We would have got X percentage of them had we done nothing. Yeah. And so when I look at this, I know that we help the average dealer with about 100 AI booked appointments per month that they were missing in totality, because those were calls that we answered that nobody else did. Okay. So if you don't answer a call today and address what the customer's after, we live in a microwave popcorn generation, brother.
They move on.
They're gone. They hang up. I need an oil change. I call you, you don't answer, and it goes to voicemail. I hang up and I pull into Pep Boys because it's literally right there. And I pull into Pep Boys. We can't afford that kind of defection. And that's silent defection that you don't even know about, right? Yeah. Those are people that you don't know you lost. So when I look at the quantifiable part, I know that there's about 100 appointments on average per dealership that we work with. We work with over 1,000 dealerships right now. So if you look at this, it's about 100 appointments per month per dealer that we're helping them with that came off of a missed phone call. Not where we're at the front and we're answering all of them. Literally, your people couldn't get to it. We got to it and got the appointment. So think about that. But I'm going to tell you the real ROI is what Paul's team has done. The real ROI comes from customer satisfaction and retention. If you look at what happens with a service advisor and communication, the one thing that we track, there's 4 things that we track on service advisors on a weekly basis. How many status update phone calls they received that week, how many heat cases they had, which is where a customer is actually upset and our AI detects that and then passes that through to management, how many escalations they had where a customer takes more than 30 minutes to get a response, and then what their median response time is. And I'm going to brag on Paul's team here. You over 9,000 ROs a month, right? Their median response time to a missed call or missed text message to their store is 26 minutes. Wow. That means 26 minutes to get a response. Anything under 30 minutes, you know what it does, Sam? Drives customer satisfaction and dollars per RO. If you respond to a customer quickly, they spend more money with you and they're happy.
Help me understand one part of this. You said it will detect a heat case in a customer.
Oh, yeah.
So if I'm live with a customer, is it listening? Is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So we have inbound and outbound call recording with call intelligence and sentiment analysis. And if you miss a call, you're an advisor, you're out back talking to another tech about a car, right? Yeah. The phone rings at your desk. You don't answer it, obviously, goes to your voicemail. And the customer goes, oh, this is ridiculous. I am so frustrated. You told me you were going to call me yesterday. Yeah. Immediately, Numa grabs that call, summarizes that call, and passes it to, we called our heat case escalation team, but whoever is on it. So it's instantaneous. It's not waiting. And here's the other thing, Sam. Advisors kind of like this and don't like it, but you can't delete a voicemail in Numa. You can't delete a text message. So when a customer calls in and is upset, we know and we get it to somebody else so that we can get on it. Big opportunity, because if you resolve a customer's complaint to their satisfaction in a short time period, they'll tell 10 people about it. Wow. That's a big positive.
In the old world, not saying that we ever know anybody that's ever done this before. In the old world, there could be a service advisor, a salesperson, a finance person, or whatever that sits on something or hides it, or spins it. This
hits 7 and deletes it. Yeah, it's gone. Yeah, you don't get that chance.
So let's say that the service advisor picks it up and they have a heated phone call. Is it able to listen and understand?
Yeah, that's the call intelligence feature.
And so escalate it as well. Wow.
Yep. Inbound and outbound call recording with call intelligence. Do you know what we hear all the time? I did not know what was happening until I got Numa. I had no visibility. I hear from service managers. I'll walk out into the shop, or I'm locking up the shop, and I walk through the advisor stations, and every one of the red lights is blinking because there's voicemail that they didn't answer that is going to now wait till tomorrow. Every service manager tells me that they see this, and this is not happening with Numa, because if they don't respond, there's a whole escalation process where the AI is communicating with the customer and escalating it to the next level to make sure that that gets a response before it goes too long. And I'm going to brag on Paul's team again. The first quarter, when we were working with them on a monthly basis, we were answering about 7,000 phone calls per month for their advisors. Think about that on how many ROs that is. Last quarter, we were averaging 4,000 calls. The amount of inbound calls have almost gone down 50%. And the reason why is his advisors are so proactive and are communicating with the people that the customers don't have the need to call in. This is amazing levels of communication that they're doing.
That's fast. Paul, commentary on that? I mean, that's a big deal, honestly. The heat case piece alone to me is big.
Well, look, I've always said if your guest is calling you, if your customer is actually seeking out you to do business, then you failed. They should never have to call you. You should be calling them before they need an update from you. So really, I think this piece for me, the key is you want your team to be handling the right phone calls, the harder, more in depth. I need an update. This is, the bigger stuff. But if your team is really, example, if your service BDC stuck on the phone, fielding calls that I'm looking for an update on my car, that's reducing the capacity of your service BDC. If your service consultants are just taking a call or, getting an update on something that you could get AI to assist you and do it smarter with, then that's a missed opportunity. I think that's the biggest piece of it for me, is you want to get the right calls to the right people.
So when you think about developing AI, when you think about how quickly it's developing, how recent is this heat case piece, Derek?
Within the last 12 months, yeah. So we've been testing the sentiment analysis on this for about 2 years, Sam, but it finally got to a point that we felt it was reliable enough that we could do it. And we keep tweaking the models, right? And and it's funny because each dealership can actually give us parameters. Like we have one dealership that if anybody says anything that has the words attorney or lawsuit or legal, they don't care if the customer is not sounding upset and is actually saying it in a positive way. They still want that escalated, right? So there's tweaks and settings that we can do internally, but really it's come down to the fact that in the last year, it's got to the point that it's very efficient.
So it's interesting. One thing, I was just looking up a post I did recently. Brian Benstock said something. He was quoting a book. He said, literacy in our age is the ability to learn, unlearn, and relearn. And I think about this technology and how quickly it's developing. My value as an employee, as a stakeholder, and even as a big decision maker is the ability to learn something and then unlearn it and then relearn it. And it seems to me this technology, as you're describing, is developing so quickly. It's the ability to say, hey, I've looked at something, I'm not interested because I don't understand it, or it competes, or it's not good enough, and then to be able to come back and reassess it later. So, Derek, I guess a couple questions as we get towards the end here is there's so many solutions out in the marketplace and they're not all equal. I have not heard of a solution that does what you're talking about here today. What advice would you give to dealers that just have decision fatigue in this AI world that, like, I've probably had 6 calls today alone, people saying, hey, I want you to look at this. I'm like, how do you make sense of this?
I think what you just said is kind of funny because if you look at 90% of the shareholder reports in the last quarter of Fortune 500 companies, every one of them referenced over 90% referenced AI as an important initiative, right?
Yeah.
And so unfortunately, like this is a whole podcast, Sam. Like I could do a whole podcast on what you need to watch out for. Yeah. There are a lot of smaller companies that are, basically just throwing a shell over the top of ChatGPT, and that is so problematic for dealers. Like there is a lot of potential problems that highlights, but I really believe a dealer needs to look at this. If the AI is a one size fits all solution, that's not for you. One of the things that I absolutely love about our team is that our implementation folks do a complete mystery shop so that they understand the whole way that the phone system works, right? Because you can have the best AI in the world and put it in the wrong place in your phone tree, it ain't gonna work, right?
Yeah.
So we have to go through and understand your phone system. We have to understand how you do business. We have to customize it for how you do it. One of the things that Longo asks us for is like on the conversation view, we want to see the customer that's waiting waiting the longest, not the newest conversation, right? And so we customize the conversation view for them so that their team is always seeing the customer that's waited the longest in that view immediately at the top of their screen so that they can act on it. So it's actionable. So we really believe that we have to have a concierge type approach where we build out the Numa implementation for the dealership specific to how they do business. Because look, we do a ton of Lithia stores. Lithia all use the same DMS, all use the same phone technology, all use the same CRM, right? All use the same scheduler for all intents and purposes. But we probably got 80 different implementations for Lithia because they run it as entrepreneurs and everybody does business differently. And so I think that the biggest thing that I would tell dealers is you need to look at something that's going to solve your communication challenges, not a single thing, and is able to be customized to fit the way that your business works. Don't try and customize your business to the way AI operates, because that ain't going to happen. Sam, you know this. The minute that you try and get an employee to change what they do on a daily basis because of a new technology you worked, you probably already failed that initiative.
Yeah, that's true.
Right? Yeah. We have to make the technology work for the user.
That's a great line too. Technology can't, the employee or user can't come to the tech has to come to the user. And that's
100%.
why it's so important to make sure that the company understands automotive, understands the use case. I think it's fascinating, and we'd love to have you back for that episode where we talk about how problematic it is to throw a solution on top of ChatGPT.
I got some scary stuff.
Data gets out in the open, and then all of a sudden your proprietary, not only your NPPI, but your just your knowledge as an organization becomes out there, and that's terrifying, right?
It is absolutely horrific.
They're throwing it out there on their own, and that's a huge risk, right?
A lot of challenges there. And, a lot of the big groups have actually blocked OpenAI and other, AI tools because they don't want people doing that. They don't want them sharing that data into it, because once you put it in there, it's gone. It's in there permanently. We actually did we were doing a test with OpenAI. Whenever we have data that we use with an AI platform, it's anonymized. There is never anything that goes through that actually, because our system strips it out. So there's a middle layer where the security is that does not allow anything to go through into AI that is other than just a base conversation, and it strips out anything that is identifiable. Anything. Year, make, model, customer information, no phone numbers, no records, no nothing. It is totally sandboxed, demilitarized. Like it is like very, very important. But the thing that was crazy is we were running this test on these anonymized voicemails. We were getting bleed through of real customer data where the AI was hallucinating and giving us back customer data.
Oh,
how did that get in there?
Yeah.
Somebody put it in there. Somebody shared that.
Yeah.
Crazy.
One day there will probably be an insurance policy out there with AI where it's like, hey, as a company, you need to get insured to make sure you don't accidentally leak that out in the open, right? Like, or a certification or something else. Because that's terrifying. That's the ultimate concern, right?
Yeah, it is terrifying. And you need to find a partner that actually has a documented security process that's gone through the compliance and understands AI and the challenges with it.
Which I would assume Numa has, yes? So
100%.
And Longo wouldn't be doing business with a company and churning 1,000 new vehicles a month sales, 9,000 ROs a month without having that knowledge. So, Paul, I'll tell you, what a thrill to have you on. I need to get you on the Daily Dealer Live because it'd be great to have you talk about business in your market and just what a huge lift it is to be a service director at the largest Toyota store in the entire country. You'd be a fascinating person to have lunch with. And Derek, you're joining live from the back of your car, which I can't tell you how.
I'm on holiday, Sam.
I'm telling you what, you are committed to automotive, and you're committed to us and everybody else finds solutions. So thank you for being here. So, Derek, Paul, any closing thoughts about Longo Toyota and being the largest dealer in the world, fighting this interesting AI solution?
Yeah, I mean, look, we're just continuing to try to get better and serve our guests better. And so I said, you mentioned a rescue time to get text back at 26 minutes. My opinion, that's still too long. I mean, we've got to make it easier for our guests to do business with us. Continue to basically excel and just demand the best to continue to be number one.
Well, thank you.
And that's what I love. Yeah.
So, all right, everybody, thank you all.
Thank you.